Someone initially might say, are you a conservative or a liberal? And I go, I have no idea what I am. We're very conservative on some things, we're very liberal on other things. But that's where people want to peg you.
Lunchtime, boys.
Those people are liberal, those people are conservative. Yeah, I'm all of those. There's all this public land, there's pressure to take part of it and give it state control. They're top-down legislators. They're not listening to their public. They're listening to their state leaders and their national leaders. And that's been hard to watch in Idaho.
I just don't think the people of Idaho are going to stand for it, because culturally it's been such a part of our state.
Well, it comes up in the legislature every session about state control of public land, not only in Idaho, but in Wyoming and Utah and Nevada. We only have to lose once. You can't be separated from politics.
So the politics in Idaho, I think, probably is summed up in one word, and that's it's conservative. When we sit down in a bar with friends, we'll argue for hours over how many fish you're going to be able to catch, what tags are available where, when you're going to be able to go hunt. But I'll tell you what, the one thing that most all sportsmen agree upon is that we need healthy public lands.
Mostly what people care about is the ability to fish, hunt, and camp with their children, particularly in the places they grew up in. And I think for a long time, most Idahoans took it for granted that you could return to the place your parents took you or return to your favorite camping spot, and it would forever be that way. So the assumption is that if you're a hunter, you're a Republican, and if you're a hiker, you're a Democrat. I'm not sure if it's the involvement of firearms or the tradition of the hunting community. I'm not sure where that comes from, but that is the broad assumption. And particularly in Idaho, that's just not true.
I was your stereotypical hiker, biker, backpacker, but hunting still wasn't a part of that opportunity. It just wasn't something I grew up with. And then all of a sudden I found myself in the middle of a really hard winter, living in this small community in central Idaho, sort of tucked away in the mountains, very isolated. And so I was really forced to decide if I wanted to continue to pay these really high prices to buy protein, or if I was gonna hunt. And I decided to buy a gun, bought my first rifle, and decided I was gonna give it a go that fall during the big game season. This thing has gone a long ways and has helped me certainly fill my freezer with a lot of ethically sourced meat. I think hunters are people who appreciate the land. Hunters are people who appreciate feeding themselves. And hunters are often in rural communities. But since when is like the fact that you're a Republican or a Democrat the key factor in determining if you feel similar to someone or if you even like someone? Since when does your political affiliation determine who you can and can't be friends with and what things you can and can't stand up for?
My goal is to keep the community united in a voice and not try to put wedges in to make it more divisive than it needs to be. I think one of the tricks to living in a small community like this with pretty different lifestyles is to try to embrace them all, kind of unite that we're all just here raising kids, making a living, trying to get by.
We have a very strong relationship, I think, to public land because it's given us so much over the years. Maybe that's why we like to live here, and that's why we're so protective of it, because everything's connected.
If you were to sit 10 people down at a table and you were to talk about public lands, in Idaho, I think almost always you'd have a consensus that's something worth defending.